every year for years, just some history on this. This is the meeting where we present. So we go to SEMA. This was initially Toby Chess and Kai did this annually, where they would go to the show and basically, walk through, find different new tools that they thought were relevant, and would take them back to their shop, try them, let their techs try them, and then come to CIC and the SCRS meeting with recommendations for the industry. And so over the years, it's kind of morphed into this presentation where we do this here. So with that, we'll get started. So the first tool we have is a tool called the peel wheel. And this is actually a tool that we purchased. I purchased at our shop. It's a very soft rubber wheel that is, again, so going back to kind of the original concept, what we really enjoy about this is finding these tools, right, that make a big difference, but are affordable for our teams, are kind of like, things that kind of just make it fun, right? And that are, we have a array of different things we're going to show today, but some of our favorites are these little one-offs that just are like little diamonds in the rough, right? So this tool basically makes it, that's a Rivian double-sided tape. You put it on, you have like a slow rotation on it, and this thing just takes off the adhesive like butter, right? So those times where people have like the scraper and the razor blade and the adhesion remover and all of that, this thing is really cool. We have buy-in from most of our techs and would highly recommend it. So it made the list this year.
You guys can notice, like, you think on that video set, like, it's you see the debris, it doesn't leave as much as like an eraser wheel does. It's kind of almost like an eraser wheel, but you just see there's not much debris coming off of it. So it's.
Was there a concern about heat generation for like scorching the paint?
Well, you do it so slow, yeah, really low, and we haven't had any issues with it. The next one is this LED, this next LED. Little minion light, as I like to call them. I get blinded by them daily. The guys come in with them still on and want to have a conversation. But this one's really nice because, again, the price point is $30. I was able to buy this on Amazon. This was actually, so going in, we also all, or most of us here, actually all three of us, to participate in the judging at SEMA, the new tool judging for SEMA. So this was my first year to do that for the SEMA show. Chris and Kai are veterans at it. But this was one of the products that was on there. Didn't make the best product, but again, just for price and value. So this is very similar to the paint lamp, where it has like different light settings. So these are actually my technicians. We're using it in the shop, and you can change it to natural light, bright light, right? So there's the settings, and it's easy to get. I ordered it just, on the fly, like I do almost everything else in my life. And it showed up 2 days later, the Amazon box, and, we were trying it out. So again, highly recommend. And so the third program, or the third tool, is a program, Revv ADAS. And I think we have a video. This did win new product showcase. And so if we want to roll the video.
Hi, today I'm going to be showing you Revv ADAS Plus, the most comprehensive and accurate ADAS identification platform on the market to help you streamline your ADAS calibration workflows. The first thing you're able to do here is upload an estimate directly into the platform. And the first thing that will occur after an estimate's been uploaded is a decode of the VIN to the as-built level. So this isn't a trim level data. This is as-built on this specific VIN that will show you every ADAS system equipped on that vehicle, as well as a number of different operations that are required to be performed. When we dive in here, we're able to look at first our blind spot information system unit. The first thing I'll call out is the name that we use. We will always use OEM specific naming and terminology. so that you can help train your employees and you can be paid back by insurance more easily. We'll give you your procedure type and location, what tools are required, what it's responsible for, and really importantly, what line items from your estimate triggered this calibration and need to be performed. Here, our most important things are our links. We will link you out directly to the procedure instructions and the mandated requirement. That's the documentation to prove the OEM mandates this calibration based on the line items from your estimate. We also have an auto quoting feature that will allow you to immediately populate pricing for each of these calibration that needs to be performed. And that pricing is completely controlled by you. Here we'll see our millimeter wave radar, a steering angle sensor, which is one of our post-wheel alignment operations, and multiple safety operations that need to be performed on this Honda. At the bottom of our report, we'll see a total projected price based on the pricing that you have set up within your system. At the top of this report, you're going to see our Get Position Statement button. This will allow you to receive position statements relevant to this collision type and the calibrations that need to be performed on this vehicle. Let's download the report and take a look at what it looks like. On a Revv ADAS report, you're going to be able to list a retail price, you can white label with your own logo, and you're going to get all of the information that you saw on the last screen, including the requirement and procedure links. Now, if we scroll down to the bottom of this report, we will see an estimated pricing page, so that as soon as your report is run through our system, you have an idea of what your calibration supplement is going to add up to. Now, this isn't all that we do. We are also going to give you the ability to add documentation, whether that's photos of the repair process, position statements, the estimate. We're going to give you the ability to create work orders and create invoices seamlessly straight through the platform. Now, I want to show you our All Reports page. Our All Reports page is going to give you a comprehensive overview of every single vehicle that is currently in any of the shops that you are servicing or that are under your umbrella, including the VIN, the shop name, the vehicle, the projected price, where it is in the workflows, and what or whether or not an invoice has been created. Now, if I go down a little further, I'd like to show our shops section. This is where we give you the ability to create a network of shops under your umbrella, easily and quickly. And you'll notice here, our Connect with CCC button. We have a streamlined CCC integration. It's as easy as 3 steps to set up, and it makes running reports from estimates written in CCC or Mitchell or Autotext seamless, easy, and happens instantaneously once you have integrated with your CCC license. Going a little further, we can show our insights. This is where we are going to give you data as to how many estimates have actually been run through the shops that you're working with and how many calibrations have been triggered. Let's go a little further and look at our services.
So you can see that's a very comprehensive program, right? The software wise, I mean, there's a lot going on. I don't use it personally, but I think it's just a testament to how much software we have available in this industry. And it's as good as what it is in which you use it.
So did we actually do use this? And we've been using it for right at a year. It works really well. I will say we have had. Thanks, Chris.
We have had a few bugs with it, as what would be with any new piece of software. But here's what I loved about them is that they were nimble, they were quick, and within days, not weeks, not months, we were able to get the issue fixed. Speed-wise, it's definitely picked up our ability to quickly and comprehensively add what we needed back to the repair plan. It's very, very, very customizable. So, thank you.
Okay, up next, we in the industry, we have issues where our technicians have to either drill holes for a MIG weld or riveting, and deburring the sheet metal or basically aluminum, ferrous or non-ferrous, right, Michael? Is a challenge. Sometimes it's one-sided. Sometimes you're drilling a hole where you can't access the back. And this company here, even though we featured them before, developed a bit that will clean and deburr both sides at one time. So what happens is it's always a challenge when you're putting quarter panels on or anything welded, that the technician spends a lot of time deburring so that you get your panels flush before you either bond and rivet or you weld. And one of the big decisions that we have as shop owners is, since we are confined to a certain amount of labor to do a certain procedure, this tool will be helpful to help you with your bottom line.
Kai, I'll just add real quick to that. But relative to addressing it, I think this is where it becomes really important to pay attention to the guide pages and the updates that occur. And I know the estimating committee is doing a presentation tomorrow at CIC on some of the changes that have occurred within the systems. But last year in the 2023 Motor Guide to Estimating update, there was a change in the estimated work time premise, which said, estimated work times for a component attached with adhesives, welds, and or rivets include removal of rivets, welds, and weld nuggets, and component removal, prepping attachment surface and replacement components, drilling as required, deburring, pyrosil and adhesive application, EMC screws if required, installing rivets, and welding as necessary. So I think it's really important to pay attention to the changes, especially as they show up in blue during the current year, to make sure that you're understanding how those are changing in relationship to the tasks you're performing and be able to address those directly through the BEG or whatever mechanism that you choose.
Well said.
It's ironic. I had actually brought this up to Danny at the DEG for it. Ran through an example that, because we work with the IPs on a yearly basis in private meetings. And one of the points that was brought up was the average. Just use an example. The average time on a quarter panel is 18 hours. Well, several of the three IPs have come forth and said that the time that they vest towards to drill a hole for the operation itself, depending on the IP, was 0.2 to 0.3 per hole. And when you run through that, we also ran that the average amount of holes drilled was over 26 holes per panel. Okay, so that's just an average. Well, when you add that up and you add that time, so that 18 hours, once you pull off the 0.2 to 0.3, that's pulling off 12 plus hours. That would leave an average of 5.8 hours to install that quarter panel.
Yep.
So let that sink in for just a minute. And so it's a process that I'm not sure how it came to be or came to bear, but I'm not sure how it's reality.
So next up, we've got the Celette bench. So I don't know if everyone's had the chance to see it yet, but the new bench from Celette is aluminum. First of its kind that I know of, right, Timothy? Or has there been some other?
So yeah, basically here, these are the comparison of one steel and one aluminum. So it's 3 times lighter. So basically with 2 fingers, you can hold it. And here it's a small one. If you have a big one, it can help you, it's easier for everyone. It's really easier. And also it's easier to transport. It reduces the cost of transportation for you, for your customers. So yeah, that's a nice addition. The principle stays the same, but it's just better, basically.
He has a scale up here where he has this one. You pass it around. Yeah. This one, the aluminum was 4 pounds. The steel one was 12 pounds. Give you an idea.
They also have converted the rack now, which is aluminum, and the crossbars. So some of us who have had Celette benches my whole career, basically, but very heavy. Like there was no way I would have been able to without assistance. And now they're developing these so for workers' comp, for, our quickness of setting it up, it's streamlined it quite a bit and made it a lot more user friendly. And I think versatile for your team of being able to bring in, even maybe women into the workforce, right? That don't feel challenged by it. So it's because that alone takes a lot of weight off.
So Timothy, are you guys seeing a lot of cars? I know we don't pull as much anymore, right? So a lot of the stuff is just for holding and for structural fixtures. Is that kind of like the idea, one of the reasons behind for the aluminum?
Yeah.
So actually, yes, we are pulling less and less in the industry, but the goal for this bench was, you can use it for full aluminum cars and just maintain, pull, cut, and weld again. But we will have a puller for this one. So you will still be able to pull on this one. The thing is, we just want to make things lighter without compromising with accuracy, which is our biggest strength, and also with the ability of pulling. But yeah, the thing is, if you don't pull, it's much more practical to have a lighter bench. So we don't need to have something as sturdy as before also. But we don't compromise with that right now. It's still, you will still be able to pull.
So pre-production, when are you thinking? Another year, 2 years?
The aluminum chameleon, so the aluminum jig system, it will be coming this year. It's already in production, and you have to contact our distributor, which is right there, Soka. They will be able to supply that. And the aluminum bench, it might be a little bit later in the year. We already have prototypes that are working. We are trying them, but yeah, maybe this year, maybe the year after, but normally this year for the aluminum bench.
Timothy, would that include the pole arm, or is it the same pole arm that you use on the steel?
It will be a different puller. This will not have, as we are right now in the design, it will not be the same one, especially because the frame rack, even if it's the same holes and the same pattern, so the cross member can still be used, the shape of the rack is not the same, so the puller are not compatible.
Awesome. Any questions while he's up here? Thank you.
So we've also got the Milwaukee ratcheting combination wrench. This is for the set. So it's got a 2-degree swing arm, a little bit difference, and you can see the teeth actually are much finer than other ones before. So it's something we saw at SEMA, which we thought was really cool. We should be included in here.
Okay, well, we're fortunate to have Milwaukee Tools Alicia here? She's not? Okay. They visited our store. Milwaukee really wants to get into the collision space, and we worked with them last year where they came out with some polishers and things like that and gave us some demos to try. And they were a huge, presence at SEMA, and they had a lot of products that were designed for the collision industry. And one of the new ones is an Orbital sander. This one has a 3/16 Orbital thing for the body shop and the paint shop. They also have one for color sand and polishing, and we've been using these things at the store, and I can't get them back from the technicians. They work off batteries. They do have a little bit of a shelf life. They'll do 3 to 4 panels sometimes, depending on how far you want to sand, but it makes it really mobile. You don't have to drag an air hose around. We have other vacuum systems and stuff that also utilizes DAs, but Milwaukee is coming up with a vacuum system that will work with these DAs that they showed at SEMA. And one of the interesting things about the vacuum cleaner was at the suction point where you attached it to the DA, you had a button that you could turn off the vacuum so it wouldn't sit there and run and drain that battery. So it's very, very usable. And we suggested also they have things that could go along with that vacuum, detail services where you shampoo rugs because it is a wet dry. So you'll see a whole line of accessories for the collision industry coming from Milwaukee.
And the next tool is this, and this was actually also made it to the SEMA showcase. This is a Keco, and they have this is a knockdown hammers. They have a couple different lengths and styles. They have the more hammerhead style in this pattern, but I think they have stainless. Is Chris here? Yeah, Chris. I don't know if you wanna come up or you want me to just butcher it here for you. We can do that.
Yeah. So, as Amber mentioned, there is a number of configurations. Basically, when it comes to technicians, whether you're a collision technician or whether you are a paintless net repair technician, hammers are a big part of your life, right? Now, every hammer that we make and every tip that we make
does not damage the panel. It respects the factory finish. Even though we're not selling a paintless dent repair, it is a collision repair. This system of the hammers, what we tried to do was basically create like a Build-A-Bear for the technician, and different weights of hammers. We have different. We have stainless steel. We have aluminum. We have different sizes. We have different lengths. We have different tips and different ends. So basically, it's you just build whatever you need, right? So anyway, that's it.
So are these for sale now, Chris, or are they coming soon? Or
I'm glad you asked, Chris. You should go to kecotabs.com right now, and you can order any of the configurations you would like. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Michael Bradshaw, 10.
All of the tips interchanged with all the different hammers?
They do. Yes. Yeah, they're all 5/16.
And it's the carbon fiber ones the techs love them. I mean, they're so, it's such a cool just look, So I think all in all, it's, again, price point. This was one of the things that we were big fans of. And and then we have Goliath carts. I think we have someone. Oh, hi. Would you like to come up? And we have a couple of products here from Goliath carts that caught our eye.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Dito Diaz here. So I've got a new word for you as it relates to this cart. It's called industrial hygiene. And that's the fact that we want to protect our technicians and folks that are moving heavy objects. And so this cart here, as you see, there's a black panel on the front with a handle. That actually has a wire harness that goes all the way down to the front wheels. And those front wheels are actually motorized. So it's great. You can put, we have multiple versions from 1,000 pounds all the way up to 6 tons. And so we developed this actually for another vertical industry, but it works great. I mean, we have a number of things coming out in them, like lifts. And if you think of EV batteries, it's one thing to do vertical lifting. It's another thing to do horizontal movement. And so we do really, really well in that space. So I brought one. It's back there. I don't know that we need to. There's not a lot of space in here to move it around. But once you turn it on, that handle has a sensor on it. So you can literally, with one finger, you can put 2,000 pounds on that thing. And with one finger, you can push it through a facility. So it's really great. It's really just your imagination. We have on the sides, it has kind of like a stake bed truck. It has some square, and that is, the one here is made of aluminum as well. But it has some square pieces, so you can put sides on it. We can put things if you need to move, let's say, hazardous material. We have a containment box. So there's a lot of cool things. That has some D-rings on there, so you can strap things down. So that's just, I mean, again, there's so many industries that we can use this. Then think of hospital beds and hotels for, maid service to move towels, heavy items. So really, it's about protecting employees and that are moving very heavy objects. So that's we call it our L cart for the shape, but that's the base platform. And again, lots of different casters. So we go all the way up to from small 6-inch casters all the way up to 12-inch off-road casters that you can run on gravel and all kinds of stuff. So it's a great little platform.
Is it self-propelled? But you manually push it?
No, it's got that sensor and a motor. It has a battery pack. It's 236 amp. It's a 24 volt, so 236 amp batteries in series. So it's a 24 volt, 36 amp. It'll run probably several weeks on a charge.
That's awesome.
This is so we have 2 of these. So we've really started doing a lot of technology stuff recently. Things from like RFID technology for inventory, all the way up to these sophisticated locks that have Bluetooth controllers, things. So we have a couple versions. This one and another one. The real big difference is if you want to audit who gets into these boxes. One of them actually does the audit, will tell you, when the box was accessed, etc. But they both run on software. They'll both send you either an SMS text or an email letting the customer, or send the customer an email letting them know that, okay, yes, so let's say you're in a dealership, service writer, a customer calls, service writer says, oh, sorry, sir, we close at 6 p.m. No problem. We have an after hours box, and we'll send you the code to get into box number 2, for example, or the one that's open, number 1. And it sends them the code. And when the customer gets there, they just input the code, grab their keys, shut it. Once they do, that code is no longer available. So we can do it a couple of different ways where it auto advances codes, or you can set codes. So each of the 2 systems that we developed, they're each a little bit different. Price points are, believe it or not, fairly similar, and it's really just a matter of which of the technologies best suits your business.
So I think what a lot of people thought was really neat about this at the SEMA show was just all that customer interaction, things you could do with them. I think for our committee, we're always looking for these neat finds at the SEMA show, but we're looking for them all over the industry as well, right? And there was a delegation of our group that went to Frankfurt to go to the Automechanica and saw. While we were there, we visited BMW Offenbach, which is a local dealership. And they showed us around their collision repair facility. But we also had a chance to see another key lock system. And so we had spent a lot of time talking about this and then came to the show and Dito saw your product, which was really neat. I think what was interesting, just to show different types of key lock boxes, when we looked at this one, it was made by, I'll probably butcher the name, but it's called KEMAS, I think, or KEMAS. But it could actually be programmed to the key fob, the customer's key fob. So the customer could come in, hold their car key fob up to the sensor, and it would unlock the proper box for them to access all their information, could process payment. So it was really like a final place where they could collect their key, pay their final bill, and be able to leave the facility after hours. So I think it's neat that there's your product, these products, all sorts of different options for collision repairers to find ways to serve customers well through that interaction.
And this technology actually a lot of it comes from like server rooms, right? So we borrowed this technology from a company that makes server room locks, and they make keypads, they make biometric sensors, they make CAC card readers, and technically this one here, when you can download the app, and when you get to the box, you just tell it you want to open it, and the box just pops open. So there's really no putting in of any codes or anything. You just through the app, and that's not that lock, it's the other one. But you literally just say, I want to open it, and it pops the lock open, and you grab your keys.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So both of those are really good tools, right? Just shows, what's available out there and to make it easier for your customers to do business with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So here's an interesting product. This company's out of Canada. How many shop owners here give touch-up paint to their customers? Nobody?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Sometimes.
So what's interesting about this is the biggest dilemma we have when they ask for touch-up paint is usually that single stage, the color itself. And in fact, it'll change the chip or whatever to the color, but it's not very shiny. And that's the thing that we always have an issue with. It's not really a real fix. So this company came along and developed this pen, and I was surprised. It's a wholesale company. They don't really deal in retail, even though you can find it on Amazon. And that's where we got that pricing initially. It was $29.95, and it comes with the color code of your vehicle already loaded into the pen. Well, we found out that whoever's buying these wholesalers selling them on Amazon for $29.95. So interesting. When I contacted the company, they basically have a pen that comes with a little suction cup, and you can take the top off of it, and it has your touch-up brush, and you take your paint that was left over from the repair, and you load it into the pen, right? And on the other end, Amber, if you take that off, it has your clear coat, so you can do a full touch-up. And they offer it in a pack of 50,
It's $4.50 each. And for another $1, they can put your logo on it. So what happens a lot with us, we have a couple of service centers that we take care of, and they're always walking over, hey, we need touch-up paint. We need touch-up paint. So this could be a marketing tool and a profit generator, because at $4.50 or $5.50, retail is $29.95. You can promote your company and help your service department when they hand out that touch-up paint and has your logo on it. So I thought it was pretty cool. Cool. Good at. Here's a really neat product. So for the shop owners here that have spray booths, boy, changing filters is a chore. Yeah, I mean, a lot of your guys come up and go, did I do something bad, boss? Because you're making me change filters. So this tool was really neat. You can see how 2 men it took to take the grate out. Now you have a tool where it takes the grate out for you. You can take it outside, pressure wash it, clean it, do whatever you want. And obviously, that gentleman there is not straining like you would, like you saw the first 2 people. This company here, I think Andrew purchased one of these, right? Yeah, you have one too, Amber? Wait, you want to say a little bit about it? Okay, good. Okay. And so SPANESI also we saw at SEMA had one. And so it's at that price point, I don't know how many filters you change, but boy, just the liability of having a workman's comp claim. I mean, those are crazy. If you don't know it, these grates fit like within a millimeter of each other. And sometimes they're set up in a pattern where they have to go back exactly where it was when you pull them out. So in this way, you can take it out and lay it out in a nice layout so you can reinstall them the same way they came out.
I would say it pays for itself probably the first. We have a dual booth, and the 2 men, 4 hours to take out all of the grates in the 2 booths, and then the potential of them getting hurt or just being, to your point, feeling like they're getting punished somehow, So I think it's a no-brainer. The SPANESI one I haven't tried, but both that one I did see in SEMA, and it seemed like it worked very similar. But I would definitely recommend looking into them.
So here's another neat product. This is a battery-operated foam sprayer. Now you figure it is a pretty simple tool, but I don't know if, again, to your shop owners out there, to deliver a vehicle, you usually have to clean it. You usually have to wash it. And a lot of times the people that are allocated to do the washing, they work out of a bucket that has car soap in it. You don't know if it was changed whenever. They'll soap that vehicle down. Your detailer or color sand polishing technician just spent hours making the perfect finish. They go into that bucket, they scrub the whole vehicle, and now you got scratches that, you just don't know where they came from. So what's neat about this tool is you can hose the car down and use your soapy product, and it basically sprays foam all over the car. So it's already working without even touching it. And then you can come in with your new micro towel or whatever product you want to use to wash the vehicle and then hose it down. It just makes it more efficient. You have less risk of damaging paint that you just put on the vehicle and had polished. So we thought that was pretty good. Now, we tried to buy one of these, and it just was released the 17th of this month, so we couldn't have one here to demo. But we did see it at SEMA, and it was a great idea, we thought. This is a neat product. We're walking the SEMA show again, and this is a laser welder. I was fascinated because they had some samples. Amber, you want to hand out some of those samples here that you could pass around? What was neat about this is that they allowed us to actually go up and weld, and it was just like if you knew how to weld, it didn't take much to lay a perfect bead. And you can see from these samples the amount of heat transfer is very, very minimal. And I have to tell you a funny story. So in 2005, I was at Aston Martin factory, and they had a laser weld on their new DB9. And they were so proud of it because they're moving up in the world. They got laser at their factory, and they wanted to show me a demo, but the laser welder was broken. So I asked them, I said, well, what do you do when it's broken? They go, well, we put a rivet there. But it just goes to show you 15 years later, this technology is available in the aftermarket. We can actually buy this very affordable. I think it was in the $25,000, which is very comparable to regular welders. I think the challenge we're going to have here is having the OEMs come in to certify if we can duplicate a laser weld that was done on a body in white, and that's the exciting part about it.
So Kai, we actually had one of our OEM summit sessions at the show was on this particular topic. And so while I am not the most technical level expertise up here, I learned a lot from listening to folks who were Jeff Poole from iCar and some folks with IPG Photonics who produces that particular tool, as well as Rex Alexander, who you talked about kind of the utilization. Rex used to be the senior welding engineer at SpaceX. He's now leading the Handheld Laser Institute to kind of work through some of the standards and things around that. But so some of the interesting takeaways where, really that looks a lot like what you might have with a MIG welder, right? Like from a packaging standpoint. But in arc welding, you have 50 watts of power in 1 square millimeter space. This you have 10,000 to 20,000 watts of power in that laser beam. And so it just like concentrates that energy, but without the heat. And I think one of the things that kind of stood out as being interesting for people who were reviewing it, this was one of the slides from the presentation, but was the cleaning function. So you don't necessarily need the cleaning function with the laser welding, but certainly there's a lot of welding aspects where you are going to need to clean the oxides off so you can have a proper weld. And so they incorporated that into the machine, and then you can see it here where it's actually going through that welding process and laying it down. And this would not necessarily be a typical type of scenario that you would see in a collision space, but you can see how easily that kind of comes across. So I think that's pretty fascinating. And then Kai, you can also talk a little bit about just what the weld profile looks like. But I think from again the conversation in the panel, what they really discussed was that's a pretty parallel weld profile. And so you're going to have, when that goes back into its hardened state, you're going to have less twisting, less distortion. Is just going to be a more solid weld, right?
Absolutely. The issues that we have with welding is obviously heat that's generated. And as much as the welding technology is advanced today, the laser weld is another step above what we're accustomed to and what we have in our shop. So I can see great potential. I think that it was a perfect place for SEMA for customizers because somebody had taken in their booth a fender and welded a flare on the side of the fender, and there was no distortion. It was absolutely amazing. So it just kind of gives you an idea where the technology is going and where our industry is going.
And we should have, so this education program, along with the other OEM summit sessions, we should have available probably by the end of the month on our internal process. So if you go to the SCRS.com website and you're on our mailing list, you'll get notified of that. But those 3 OEM summit sessions were all filmed. So if you're interested in this, you'll be able to go back and kind of listen to the experts talk about the application and how they're seeing it evolve in the automotive space.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Thank you.